Welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania, where we discuss history and hauntings. In each episode, we answer the question, are we brave enough to visit these places of paranormal phenomena? Follow us on Instagram for updates and pictures of our adventures at Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
This is Hanna.
And I'm Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas,
where we talk about all your favorite scary movies. I almost forgot my line.
Matt's going to be real mad at me for this, but in the wise words of Bodies, today's episode is a podcast about hanging out with your smartest and funniest friend. Matt doesn't want me to say that anymore because it's redundant now. But today's episode features one of our best friends, another Matt. So today's Matt, Mr. Matthew Dalton, different last name. He is an actor, so by profession. So we thought this would be a fun guest to have.
Hi!
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Matt Dalton. I am an actor trained theatrically, so a stage actor, but I love movies, and I specifically love horror movies, so I'm very excited to be on here talking about horror movies.
So we have to ask you right away, what's your favorite scary movie?
How very Scream of you.
Was channeling my Billy Loomis there.
Yeah, I think my favorite scary movie has to, and will probably always be, The Shining.
Okay, all right.
It's just a very classic movie. It's one I've watched. It was one of the first horror movies that I watched and really had an impact on me, so even now when I watch it, I think it's still even though the scary bits aren't really as scary as they used to be, it's still a very very dominating movie.
I think that's one we'll definitely cover at some point too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever read it by any chance or no?
I tried. I really did. But boy, does that Stephen King know how to write a long book.
That one's short too. I got it over there.
That's that's
enormous.
I mean, Jesus Christ. But no train of thought here. Anyway, what were we talking about?
One of your favorite scary movie, The Shining. Hannah, have you seen The Shining?
I have.
Okay, well, I think you did.
Freshman year of college, but I wasn't really paying attention because it was on a kind of date thing. So
I like it.
I wasn't,
but I haven't seen it in a long time, and I also have read it, and I had weird feelings
because I know they're very different. I would like,
and I did really enjoy the book.
I have a friend who has a bookstagram, so I thought it would be fun to have her on for one of the book to movie adaptations to kind of talk about the difference. Yeah. I thought that would be a really fun way to cover it.
I think so much so that, and this may be completely hearsay, but I feel like Stephen King was pretty unhappy with Stanley Kubrick, who does that movie. He was pretty unhappy with how many liberties that Kubrick took doing that.
I think the biggest complaint that I hear a lot is that Jack Nicholson already just looks insane when the movie starts. Yeah. When there's a big part of the book is that he's supposed to be this handsome normal.
Yeah, it's that journey from an everyman kind of guy.
Although he has some
he's a drinking
anger.
problem.
Yeah, he's a drinking problem. He's he every once in a while abuses his kid, or at least prior to this movie starting, breaks his arm. But there's still it's inside of him, but it doesn't actually show. Where Nicholson from the beginning, it's just right on his face.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's a lot of reason that movie is good, and I feel like it has probably outshined the book at this point.
Hey.
Sorry, that was terrible. So, what did we watch today, Hannah?
Oh yeah, I didn't say that. We watched Malignant. So Malignant has a story. It's produced by, and directed.
It has a story.
It has a story. But it's produced by, and directed by James Wan. The screenplay, though, was by Akela Cooper. And it stars Annabelle Wallis as Madison, our main character.
Yes, and we've talked about Malignant a bunch. We were planning on watching Raw today, but a streaming service that will not be named ended up
chose
that we couldn't watch it. Decided for us. So Malignant was a good backup. And I haven't talking this movie up on our other one, so I'm excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, we were supposed to release Raw at this point because this episode will be coming out while we're in Paris, and that's a French movie.
Hopefully.
What do you mean hopefully?
Well, I don't know.
This comes out while we're in Paris.
We're making it happen? Okay. Considering it's August. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we make it to Paris. I don't know if that... You're jinxing us a little bit. Either the podcast or our honeymoon is being jinxed. But, yeah, so we thought that would be fun, but the universe had other plans for us, and this happened.
And I'm excited. I was really happy that we get to watch Malignant. I love Raw, but we can talk about it. This is only my second time watching Malignant, but it definitely stood out to me after first watching. Hannah, this is your second time, right?
Watched it both times with you. I don't love this
You gotta get Matt's background, too.
I know. Okay. So, this was your first time, correct?
This is my first time seeing the Malignant movie. They had asked me, you guys had asked me what I knew about it going into it. And I think the only thing I had to say was that some lady gets cancer, which is what I thought the trailer was telling me years ago when I saw it. And that's all I had retained.
And that is not...
And boy...
I mean, that's accurate.
Is there more that happens in this movie than that?
Yeah, I wrote that down because I thought that was so fucking... When he said that, I was like,
And I'll ask that. You've seen a bunch of other Wan movies, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've watched...
Insidious, The Conjuring.
Insidious, Conjuring. He did that... the Saw movie. He did that Puppet movie, too. I saw that.
Puppet movie? What am I thinking of?
It's called, like, Dead Silence or something like
yeah,
that.
he did.
Right.
He did.
That movie scared the piss out of me when I was a kid. The trailer, I never saw it.
Yeah, that's a solid movie.
Really? Okay. I feel like I remember it not like being critically received well, but like I remember being very scary from just a trailer perspective.
Well, a lot of horror.
That's a good point.
Isn't.
It's good, and it's
this movie was received well, though, right?
Mixed.
Mixed. Okay.
I could see that.
It's like a 70, which is good for horror.
But it was also 2021, right? Released 2021.
It was definitely released during COVID.
So, I don't
remember which.
As far as a during COVID movie, I think it was directly onto HBO Max.
Yeah, it was.
So, boy, oh boy.
All right.
So, we didn't hide it all. The Hanna hide count is a strong 0 today.
Proud of you.
There was one scream, which was me, obviously. And I couldn't keep track of this for other people, but I kept track of how many times I, very strongly involuntarily flinched. Because I had a couple really, cringe moments where I felt like my chest, my rib cage was going to fall out of my body. And that happened 4 times. So I was, scared. Just not screamy scared too much.
Yeah. I had laughed a lot.
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of laughing. And not panic laughing, just comedy laughing.
In a good way, because I find this movie very funny.
Good laughs. I think I had, one, jumpy moment, but I couldn't tell if it was actually from the movie or from Hannah's reaction
That's fair.
to the movie.
Yeah, because when I cringe, it's real hard. It's a pretty violent process.
Yeah, I've jumped from you in the theaters before.
Yeah.
Probably when we saw Barbarian.
I'm messy. Oh yeah, we all saw Barbarian together. What a time to be alive.
We've talked about that.
We love horror movies.
Especially that one. So what were your general thoughts, Matt?
Boy, this movie is... I'm going to say it again. I don't think this movie is a horror movie. I think this is James Wan's attempt to make a comedy movie. A comedy action movie. It's this movie is boundary crossing. It is all over the map. Mm-hmm. It is campy. It's funny. It's suspenseful. There's a crazy fight sequence.
Oh yeah.
There's two crazy fight sequences in this movie. It's really wild.
I had the biggest grin on my face during all those sequences. Even you describing them had me happy. But Hannah, I think we got to back up.
Why?
Because we didn't do 15-second summaries.
Oh,
fudge
I have to do a 15-second summary?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Am I getting timed?
Not yet, but we will time you.
All right.
But that was you told us a lot first. There, and that's fine. I'm excited. That's a good primer for 15
There's a lot. Yeah.
Summaries.
So take all that and just keep it in mind while I summarize the movie in 15.
Do you want to be first?
Yeah, Matt's ready.
So how much before we start the timer? Is this spoilers? Get ready for them.
Yeah,
if you don't want this movie to be spoiled,
we're all spoiled.
Listen to
Fast
us.
forward 20 seconds.
This is
no, don't listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, that's probably a good
we're
idea
gonna just
too.
jump all right into it.
All right, cool.
Ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, lady gets a bump on the head. Her husband gets killed. Murders start happening around her. She can see them psychically, but she can't actually see them psychically because, boom, the twist is that she's Professor Quirrell, and she's got the monster in the back of her head, and so the police fight her, and then she gains control and wins.
Dude, spoilers for Harry Potter.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
shit.
what the hell is that?
You're so right. Maybe they haven't seen Sorcerer's Stone.
All right.
You up?
Sure.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
In the wise words of Dwight Schrute, I absorbed the other fetus. I believe his tissue has made me stronger. I now have the strength of a grown man and a little baby.
Perfect. 9 seconds.
When there was a scene where she goes, Gabriel makes me strong, and I literally went, I now have the strength of a grown man and a little baby. I was so excited. That's why I was giggling to myself.
Wait, I have nothing for this one.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh no, this is terrible. Matt already said everything. I got nothing funny. Oh my god, you guys both beat me. I feel defeated right now.
It's not a contest, but you did
I know.
say nothing,
I had nothing.
in the last
I couldn't even get
15 seconds.
Did we do 15 seconds? I couldn't even get a word out. That's the first one I failed at.
Matt likes to make it a game, and when he feels like he's lost the game, he
I was
doesn't
out.
feel like trying.
I couldn't even try.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a game, but if it was.
But
If
if
it
it
was,
was,
you guys
we
crushed.
definitely won.
Yeah, that's, I mean.
Well, Matt had
obvious.
the actual plot covered. You had the joke covered. I got nothing on that one.
Yeah, Matt likes to try and go last so he can make a joke.
You beat me to it.
But I said, fuck you, it's my time to shine, bitch.
There you go, dog. You got to beat him to it. All right, leave
Mm-hmm.
him in dead last.
Here's my summary. James Wan makes his best movie.
That's incredibly bold.
No, I
to
think that's
say.
bold. But that's been the running gag for me. I'm talking about Wan.
Yeah, to say that this is better than The Conjuring.
I don't think I can say that. I'm sorry. Spoilers. Second best? I love Saw 2. Ah, shit. Not Saw 2.
I guess
Saw
that's a
as
good
well.
question. I was going to ask eventually, but since we're talking about it now, do you have a favorite James Wan movie, Matt? Since my Matt is all over the map.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen them all, but I'd probably say that I think Conjuring is, like, objectively his best movie.
Mm-hmm.
I also just think it's a really interesting movie. There's a lot of things. I rewatched it recently because Michaela, my girlfriend, had never seen it before, and I wanted to be the one to show her.
Mhm.
So we watched it one day. She was not nearly as scared as I thought she would be, but she really enjoyed it. She thought it was a good movie, and I watched it. It was probably the second time I'd ever watched it after seeing it for the first time in theaters when it came out. So having seen it again after such a long time, I definitely picked up on a lot more things that I appreciate about that movie. It's such an easy watch. It's such a nice...
So we just watched it as well.
Yeah.
With Jason.
Yes.
Who doesn't like horror movies. You know, Jason. And he now says it was his favorite horror movie of all time. So he said he's like ready to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good.
I would say The Conjuring is also my favorite James Wan movie. For many of the reasons you said and the reasons that we covered on the podcast. But the soft spot that I have for Insidious is so soft. I don't know what that means.
So soft.
but the nostalgia for that one, I think it's so fun. And I was glad talking with Matt before this that you kind of vindicated some of my thoughts because...
I'm a little bit of a hater.
Yeah,
hater.
hater.
I think some of the best parts of Insidious are shown in Malignant.
See, I think that's really interesting because what I wrote down during part of this is this movie uses stings, but Matt likes it here. The door wide open trope was used in Insidious, but Matt likes this movie.
Yeah, I think I know why though. It's because this one is like purposely very campy. Where I didn't feel like Insidious. I felt like I was laughing with this one, where I was more laughing at Insidious. Sometimes.
I'm not laughing with Insidious. I'm scared with Insidious.
No, other way around. Oh, okay, you're scared. Yeah, I found myself not... I don't know, I already ranted about Insidious on that one. I don't have to go into it.
Anyway, we'll probably do a full James Wan feature at
Well,
some point.
I wanted to Saw at some point too, so...
Yeah. We're just covering him a million times on this podcast. But anyway, the thoughts.
Yeah, James Wan, if you're listening... Feel free to hit us up. Come on to the podcast. That'll be great.
Yeah, we would love that.
You know he loves Malignant.
Oh.
For sure.
A hundo P.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what, like, I'm going to turn this whole podcast on its head. My question for you guys, what do you think James Wan was like on the set filming for this movie? Do you think he was like, this is going to be a really funny part here?
Yes.
Or do you think he was like, this is a scary movie?
No,
Both.
I think he definitely knew that this was campy. I think it's deliberate. I actually, beforehand, I was looking up an interview with him to see if he mentioned anything on one of the themes that I was kind of getting from it, but didn't know. Whatever. When we talk about themes, I'll kind of get to it. But there was an interview where people were talking about how it's extremely bizarre. And he said, I don't know how anyone could think that Malignant was made from a self-serious perspective. I mean, it's so aware of what it is. Which leads me to believe, like, he's very aware that this is corny shit.
So I will say, I think, and I'm sure, I think he might have said this as well, it is in some ways paying homage to slashers from the 70s. I feel like he was trying to create Gabriel as another iconic slasher villain, unlike Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, even Leatherface, with like the iconography, the specific weapon, the outfit. And I think it kind of became so insane to like match that energy that it almost like kind of went over into campy. And I guess like those movies are campy as well, but I think it's like because he's paying homage, he goes even like further with it.
Yeah. You could possibly even say like old slasher movies are like where we get campy from, right? Like they're like what started campy. So like in their own way, they're not really campy because there was nothing before them to base it off of. And so now when we do like homages to slashers, they always end up feeling campy. I think this is like his acknowledgement that the genre is campy. I feel like,
agree.
Yeah, I feel like there might have been like, you know, people trying to like redo slasher films, and he was like, this is really what this is.
And I think the thing that people from, 1980 until Malignant, the people that were trying to make slasher films, maybe even 1990, we should say till Malignant, missed one critical piece, which was like, you have to have the bad guy like Gabriel, right? It has to be this like icon of a character. And I don't think a lot of other movies have succeeded in that the way that the early slashers did, and I also think Malignant does.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do think it succeeds there. And Hannah, can you give it praise for that, or you disagree?
I think it succeeds.
Yeah. I think Gabriel's awesome.
Yeah, Gabriel's an easy Halloween costume, right?
Oh, hell yeah. This is why I keep saying I want to do villains for Halloween. I've been saying it for 2 years.
Would you be Gabriel?
Matt here keeps
I've been saying something
me.
for longer.
That's not true. You picked the Harry Potter character costume, and you didn't even come to Halloween that year.
Wow.
That is true. But I will be there this time.
So I don't think
I had a
Scooby-Doo costume.
I had a stern, and one that was agreed upon by all parties.
Which is?
They weren't all parties, because I didn't agree.
I
said we need a vote. It could be, I don't care, if I lose the vote, it is what it is. But I will die fighting. Villains could be so funny. You could be Gabriel, you could be Regina George from Mean Girls, or you could be like an ant from the movie Bug's Life. Whoever.
Grasshopper, Hannah, come on.
No, but
for villains?
People think that the main... I don't know. What if you think the main ant is the problem? You could be him. I don't give a shit.
Oh, okay.
If Flick is your villain.
This is getting off the rails.
We're getting off topic.
Okay.
We're getting off topic.
So,
Gabe would be a great Halloween costume.
Gabe.
My man, Gabe. G-Man. He'd be great. He's got, I mean, the perfect, like, he's got his duster coat. He's got his sweet weapon. He's got a funky face. That's what you need.
You just get a slasher. Throw it out in front.
Yeah, exactly.
So this movie succeeds in being a slasher, is what I'm hearing. If that's the metric.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. There's, I don't know, this whole movie is just such a ride. It's so weird.
Yeah.
All right, so we can keep diving into general thoughts.
Do you think the weird is good? Or, like...
I mean, like, you guys do, like, a movie rating...
Yeah,
later
at the end. We'll do out of 10.
I can withhold.
But you can tell us, like, generally, right now, we like
I don't think the movie, like, it's not like an amazing movie. I don't think it's really like life-changing. It's not like, you know, it's sort of doing something new, but like not really.
Okay.
So in that regard, I don't think it's like crazy good, but I think it's a lot of fun to watch. And I think in its own regard, a movie can be a lot of fun, and that's
all it needs to be.
Super fine.
I think that's what really draws me to this one, is that I like have so much fun watching it, which I can't say about every horror movie. And even horror movies I don't always find fun, where I think this one hits a lot of different emotions for me, which makes it like never get old.
Yeah.
Which like going in, I was like, I know I like this movie. And I think maybe I just want to be on the team of people that really likes this movie, because I feel like there is a debate over it.
I have a hard time articulating what my issue is with this movie, because it's deliberately corny and campy, so I can't fault it for being that. Like, that's part of the point. Like, that's what he's going for. The movie is completely unserious. And I think that makes it fun, but I also think it is very weird, and there's something about it that I just can't wrap my head around when I'm watching it. Like, I just can't buy in.
Yeah. See, sorry, go ahead.
I think part of the thing that this movie does, which I kind of agree with Hanna, that's like weird and a little disjarring, is it doesn't really set its own expectations well. Like, I remember when the trailer came out for this movie, I was like, oh, another scary James Wan movie. And I think you look at the poster for this movie and you think, okay, even really the name of this movie gives you nothing to think that this is going to be an unserious James Wan movie. It seems so far removed from the rest of his catalog, as far as like the seriousness, not really in the style, because we talked a little bit during the movie about how the style is all there. I mean, this is just gushing with that James Wan, like all those camera angles and those fun tricks, the colors and the lights that he plays with. But like, you go into this movie thinking it's going to be another James Wan classic horror, and it is, from that first introduction, which is so jarringly not serious, over dramatic, it's almost like watching a soap opera.
Yeah.
I think from that introduction, though, you know what you're getting into.
I would argue that yes, you do with the intro, but then we kind of regress to where it's not that corny for a little bit.
Yes.
And then I think he's like, plot twist. We are corny.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why it's so jarring to me, too, is that I feel like the twist is that we are campy.
Yeah.
I was thinking that same thing while watching. So what I feel like, the opening happens and it's hysterical, almost like that. We gotta cut out the cancer.
It's time we cut away the cancer.
Yeah, incredible. And I'm like, this is something completely different. They come in with this like rock song.
The music in
intro.
The credits is
and
so
then
funny.
Then it pulls you back into the classic James Wan haunted house thing. You're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And then, like you said, the twist is, no, this is goofy as hell. And once it finally gets there, it doesn't stop.
I feel like
it's a roller coaster from that point.
It takes too long to get there.
Yeah, I do think he is playing a trick, though. Right? Is that not?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the question is just whether it works for you or not.
Yeah. I also say that the title is hilarious once you've seen the movie.
Yeah, Malignant cancer.
Yeah, it's incredible. And if I guess we don't talk about plot here, but the cancer is Gabriel, who is a monster or a parasitic twin on the back of the main character's head,
she's Professor Quirrell.
Yes, and he is
fully
the Voldemort.
Professor Quirrell. She's got an actual human being growing out of the back of her head,
and this Voldemort can control electricity.
Yeah. Which is probably something that the other Voldemort could do.
Good point.
Probably.
Wizards aren't too bright. They don't know too much about electricity.
That's true. They do have a lot of candles.
Yeah.
And apparently, according to the publications JK has put out in more recent years, early Wizards didn't even have plumbing, so...
Thank God she clarified that.
Yeah, we really needed it.
It was I couldn't even finish the movies or the book series without knowing.
So... I definitely don't think Voldemort can control electricity the way Gabriel does.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole subplot of it is
why is that happening?
I think it's honestly, I don't know why he can do that.
Oh yeah, there's no reason.
What is the purpose that it serves the story? As if maybe it's just to be like a he's just like all powerful.
It's just cool.
He's just this super powerful, weird, parasitic twin brother who's growing out the back of this lady's body, and he can communicate through the radios.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably more to the iconography. Although I forget he can control electricity until the movie happens, so maybe there's failure there. But
yeah. Well, hold on. Going back to Harry Potter real fast. Because the first thing that Dumbledore ever does in the movies is fucking control electricity. Okay, hold the phone, though. Yeah. Is Gabe a Dark Lord? This is a prequel to Sorcerer's Stone.
We have established that in the books, they established that Voldemort is, all things considered, a pretty shitty wizard, so it checks out. Actually, no. That would be the opposite, because he can control electricity, so he's at least...
He's better than Voldemort.
He's regressed. He's regressed before a Sorcerer's Stone, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what
he is very kill the spare Voldemort.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like him.
Yeah, he looks disgusting. I guess that's
that a pro. Is all right. I want to. We're moving because I think when you bring that up, I want to talk about what the movie did well. And I was going to say right there, that design of Gabriel's face, and also before he's fully cut out, is awesome in my opinion.
See, I don't like shit like that in a horror movie, and I also really don't like the twisty, contorted body motions in a horror movie. That's why when I was younger, I refused to watch them, because that would be in every trailer of some, contorted body.
That means it did its job, then.
Well, do you not like it because it's gross, or do you not like it because you feel like it's a cop-out for something actually scary?
Definitely think it's gross. I
right,
don't like to
that
look
might be
at it.
A fine thing, yeah.
But in this movie, I will say, I'll give it a little bit of a pass, because it's funny.
And it's, contextually,
it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense that he would have a lot of weird contortionist movements. I think they lay the breadcrumbs out really well for you to find out what's happening about halfway through the movie. Yes,
they give you enough to learn that it's her and he's on the back of her. Especially the kill where you start to figure out where you could tell that the arms.
Yeah, there's backwards. that flash where he's in a full crab walk position.
Yeah, and whenever they did to film the chase scene and the fight scenes where it's backwards, I don't know what they did.
Yeah, so here's the thing: cool. In the fight scene, it's 100%. In the police department fight scene, it's 100% CGI. That is a CG person and well choreographed cops.
Okay.
When Gabe goes down that fire escape, I don't know if that's a CG person or if that's a crazy stunt that they did.
We're also going to say we don't know that for certain.
Yeah, I don't know any of this for certain, except I'm pretty sure that cop scene was CG. I mean, that was rough. There was a couple stills where I felt like her face was just pasted on.
No, I think it's a mask.
I was going to say, it might, but I don't think it's a real person.
Or parts
I don't think
it
was. I think there were some parts, but you can see when he's moving around all crazy, slashing throats, that's...
Yeah,
fully CG. But the movements are so sporadic and crazy looking, it's not a person.
Yeah, I overall, even if it is CG or a person, I think it looks scary. It looks cool.
Yeah, just for those fight scenes, I think they probably use up a lot of CG to make those slashing movements and the crazy backwardsy movements. It's just it's easier. It's significantly easier than trying to train a stunt person to work backwards and do all that choreography.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably a lot easier for them. Again, this was a movie that was made during... Was it made during COVID or was it made before?
No. What year did it come out, Hannah?
I do think it
came out in 2021.
Okay.
So I just
I'm not sure then.
Filmed.
Yeah, we'll fact check that and see when it was actually filmed, But no, I mean those fight sequences. It's definitely that. But it's it's one of those things where I don't mind that it was.
Hannah's got an answer for us.
What's that?
So they did have a double performing as Gabriel, and it was a dancer and contortionist named Marina Mazzappa. But I can't tell exactly what scenes are used. I do believe that the scene in the prison, in the jail cell, was her, with a plastic prosthetic version of the main actress's face over her own, with an animatronic Gabriel face on the back of her head.
That's crazy.
So we don't know about the co-op scene, but at least the prison scene, which I think that kind of makes more sense given the motions that are going on.
Yeah. There's a few things. That cop scene, though. I mean, can we bring up the clip?
Yeah.
Can we watch it again? Because, it was all I was thinking about when we were watching. I was like, man, the CG on this one is a little rough.
So I'd be interested to know. But
yeah,
even it being rough, I didn't know there were definitely moments, but it's it's better than some action movies I've seen. Especially, there's not much of the shaky cam going on.
I mean, it was
I really enjoy.
I'm not going to call out any movies.
Oh, yeah, nothing?
Yeah.
You can.
Talk shit. It's no, it's no Black Panther, but, it was
that movie looked bad.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
I thought you were going to say one that was good. Well, it's not this.
No, it wasn't as bad as,
I appreciated
some other things.
The Black Panther
only Act 3, really.
It's just that one fight.
It's the train.
That one fight.
It looks like a PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah, it looks like, it's like Tron.
Getting a heat for this
It looks like Tron 3.
Yeah. While we're talking about the effects though in CG, the Gabriel on the back of the head, when she's a little girl, was real, right? That was a prosthetic.
That honestly, it could have been a prosthetic, and they did a lot of things to help themselves out too, because all the times where you see little baby arms, it's Voldemort.
Little baby arms?
It's so good.
Anyway, at Little Baby Arms, Gabe, they're doing it with the old camera effect, so you have effects covering up practical makeup, so it sells it even more. All those are handheld camera pieces too, so it's all of that is going to help sell and camouflage any of the imperfections you get from those puppetry parts or anything. So I would 100% believe that all of that is practical.
I think so. I think you're right. And I
cool.
really like it. I like the design. It's creepy. I also like the head design, just the eye, the bloody skull.
Yeah, the pulling part, the scalp was sick.
So other things I want to talk about, Hannah, I'm sure you liked. Cinematography was good. Wan's a good director. Were you happy with that? I think it's as good as everything. The color's a little bit better than I think Insidious, and even
it's definitely
The Conjuring
better than
in some ways.
I think The Conjuring coloring is very stylized. So
I agree. I was happy to just get a little bit of red.
I don't think this is stylized as Conjuring, so I'm not going to say that. But
that's a good point.
Better than Insidious, yes. And I do think the coloring being brighter in this works with the camp.
It's very appropriate for the silliness of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I think we lost the plot a little bit talking to you, Matt, but I do think, and I agree that it is laid out so well to just reveal little bits of information at a time so that you can figure the twist out.
Yeah. That was one of the things I was starting to say, but then we got distracted. But yeah, it does such a great job of laying out those breadcrumbs that you will find it out before they reveal it. And then they still have more interesting things to come.
And it's fun. It's you're happy with the reveal.
Yeah.
It doesn't it's not a groan reveal when I see it,
Yeah.
But Hannah, thoughts? Anything else you liked? Since I know you're the hater here, I think Matt and I have gushed enough.
I wouldn't call him gushing.
Oh, about parts of it. Fine.
I would also agree with a lot of the takes you guys have made in favor of the movie. I can't think of anything else I would say though, necessarily.
Well. Anything else, Matt, you think that it does really well?
What do you think of the performances in this? Is that a yay or nay for you?
Oh, I mean, that lead lady is doing honestly, I really like the performances. I think everybody does a really good, appropriate job for what the purpose of their character is.
Mm-hmm.
God, that sister though, the 1,000-yard stare that she does.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny.
Especially when she finds out Sydney. Or no, it's Cindy. Cindy, I'm adopted.
Yeah.
And then she's just a sister,
eyes get
and they play the song. What's the song they play?
Yeah. Where is my mind?
The use of that is so ridiculous.
It is. The amount of times that he throws that shit in.
It works. Why does it work? It works for me.
That's the punchline.
Is that it works? Yeah.
It's a weird punchline effect that he uses where he's this is something over dramatic. Throw in the same over dramatic song. Put in the song.
Well, also, the name of the song
is literally. Where is my mind? It's indicative of the whole plot.
Dumb. Yeah, we kept talking about that the whole movie too.
I was too busy enjoying.
So that's a pro.
Hold on. There was one more pro. He does a lot of like fun. So this is in the same vein as like he's laying out the breadcrumbs, but even like right before they make the whole like reveal that this is, what the character truly is. This is the, real thing of it. He does all these fun like camera tricks to even tell you what's going on. And one in particular that I noticed that I wanted to write down was it's like right before they do the big reveal and she peels back her scalp and reveals Gabe was, Lord Voldemorting in her head the whole time. She gets thrown in jail. And right when they throw her in jail, she still doesn't even realize that she's the one doing all this stuff. And she grabs the bars and yells to the cops. And she says, why are you putting me in here? I've done nothing wrong, or I haven't done anything wrong. But she says to the camera, facing the camera, she says, why are you putting me in here? And the camera angle switches to the back of her head when she says, I haven't done anything wrong. And that's just like another little fun.
Because he did it. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, because it's
James Wan's a good filmmaker.
There, yeah.
We all know
those fun little bits. I think just help sell it even more, and it's especially once you realize that you can pick up on those and be like, "Oh, he was telling us the whole time."
It's throughout,
yeah.
Because like as someone who knew the twist, like I saw more. It is like laid out, which is great. I think it actually rewarded a second viewing a lot for me. So, all right, you want to jump into favorite scenes before we trash it? You got a favorite scene, Hannah?
I don't. No, I definitely. There's things I enjoyed, but they're not coming to me. What scene did I like?
Matt, do you have one? What she thinks?
I have scenes that I really enjoyed, but I don't know if they're like. I gotta throw it back to the friggin' fight in the goddamn police station.
I knew you like that.
That scene is so ridiculous that it so perfectly sells what the movie is all about. Yeah. It's just like the truly ridiculousness of it. It's like a scene out of the friggin' Punisher when she's kicking the ass of like every police. Yeah, oh my god.
They cap that scene off with Gabriel just picking up a chair, 360 spinning,
throwing it across. Truly the largest, like, open police office, like, station you've ever seen. And he just, like, throws it. And I said it at the time, what a disservice it was that he couldn't have been, like, that they couldn't have helped him survive so that he could eventually go on to be in the Seattle Seahawks or whatever. Yeah. Because, boy, what a career he would have had. He was so talented.
It's a missed opportunity.
I'm really glad you picked that scene.
Yeah, so that's probably my favorite right there. I gotta say it.
I feel like the movie does accelerate. It's like it gets crazier and crazier until you finally hit that scene. And you're like, "What the shit is happening?"
Movie, yeah, but that scene isn't even like that scene is like you're running towards the edge of a cliff, and like when you get to that scene, instead of falling down, you hit like an Indiana Jones 3 bridge that was invisible unless you look at it in a weird. Like it was like completely out of nowhere.
And just keep running.
Yeah, and you just keep going in thin air. That's what that scene feels like to me.
I'm trying to think of my favorite.
I'm going to say, just because it's the most memorable to me, and it will always stick in my head, the opening scene and the just close-up of the doctor saying it's time we cut away the cancer is so funny and it's so awesome. Representative of the tone of the movie, even though it does kind of regress a little from there. I think that opening scene really tells you what you're going to get, and I think it's really fun.
I might have said this already, but on first watch, like, I was instantly sold after she says that line. I was
instantly
like, what is happening?
Like, what the fuck? But
it really...
It was a good what the fuck for you, I think.
I was thinking about saying that was my favorite, but since we can't, I'm going to say I think the one where the sister, the not adopted sister, her sister, Blonde, the biological sister... Daughter is watching the footage of Madeline in the psychiatric hospital, and they're showing a little bit, but they're not showing the back of her head. They're showing like Gabriel's done this, and finally they're like, "All right, we're gonna wake him up now," and they like put something, inject him with something, wake it up, and they bring the camera out, the baby arms are flying, and it's scary. It's this creepy, like you see the spine that's connected, and it's just I love it. I think it's a practical effect, at least partially, and I feel like that's one that like that image does burn into my brain a little bit, and I'll see Gabriel later. And then also like the cutting him up and like kind of shoving him and closing the skull is just
but
so over the top.
That's crazy.
What the fuck medical science is this?
Truly.
I know.
It was clear they were like hiding it, right? Because she was a children's doctor for what's it called, plastic surgeon.
But they're trying to help her, and they're just like, we'll keep this cancer in there.
Yeah, they were like.
They also showed them just pushing it in her
he did
brain.
like a 2 fingers. He was like, you know the expression, it's not brain surgery? Well, it's really not that hard, actually. You just push it in, and we're going to cap it off. Easy as that, you know?
Like, I know it's a movie, and it's a corny movie but also...
But boy, can you not just push a brain in deeper into the skull and seal it up.
Gabriel's portion of the brain. They weren't worried about it.
I guess so. Jesus Christ.
You think that would harm her portion of the brain.
I know. I'm just offending because I was in. I was like, I don't care. I'm sucked in. I'm not gonna argue with these surgeons. You know.
I also laughed at the end too when like the open wound in her head with Gabriel just closes very fast. Matt, and I were just like giggling in the corner, like that's how it goes, man. That's how fast the brain heals. Yep. Haven't you heard?
It's a quick one, dog. Couple seconds.
Also, the fact that it gets open just from her husband smashing her into drywall, and now her skull's open.
Okay, but
truly,
he clearly smashed the shit out of her.
She must have hit a stud.
The amount of times too throughout this movie that I was like, can somebody get her a bandage on the back of her head without realizing that it was fully just Gabe?
Because I think Gabriel would close himself off during the day, and then he was opening it up.
Yeah, but it was like every time she would start bleeding, it was like when she would wake up the next morning after like some brutal murder happened, and I would. Without, like, before I even realized what was happening, I was like, oh my god, somebody needs to bandage her up. Why are they not closing this wound?
Well, I was just like, Queen, you are a nurse. Are you not concerned with an open head wound?
Or is she a doctor? Did they say?
Doesn't matter, dog. She works at a hospital.
As some sort of medical professional, and she should know better.
Okay. All right. We ready to shall I let you unload on it, Hannah? To get to what we didn't like or what didn't work?
Well, all the corniness, again, for me, I just don't buy into it. I think it's funny, but I don't buy into it in a way that I'm, like, enjoying it. And I don't find it, like, that scary because it's so funny, which I don't think you're supposed to find it that scary. I think the beginning is a little scarier, some of the sequences, and then the second half is supposed to be more, like, giggle.
Kind of similar, not the giggling part, but how The Conjuring is, like, multiple acts where
some are supposed to be scarier so much others. Better for me.
I understand.
Because it's not corny.
I understand. You're just no fun.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not.
Hannah hates fun.
I do. I also just found... So I have a problem, I think, in movies that aren't serious when they touch on really serious topics, and I don't feel like they're doing them that much justice. So having, like, a movie that very much starts out with, like, miscarriage and pregnancy loss, which is a really difficult thing for women, and an abusive relationship, I just think that that's really heavy, and we don't really get that much resolution from it. I know that a lot of the movie thematically is kind of about her taking back her independence, both, like her body autonomy, but just, like, general independence from abusive men, whether that's her now deceased husband or Gabriel. But it just feels like, I don't know, I get uncomfortable when movies that aren't serious take on serious topics.
I get that. I want to push back on the miscarriage thing just slightly, because I feel like the miscarriage is critical for the, like, turning point, the climax of the movie, when
I agree, but I'm not, but I just don't like
gross.
that
you find it kind of gross. Okay.
Yeah, that bugs me.
I'll say it anyway, just for the listeners, that it turns out Gabriel's been, like, eating her fetuses, basically, and absorbing them, the babies.
I will kind of agree with Hannah on that. It's like, plot-wise, they make sense of it, but it still feels like, I don't know, like, they could have found another way to do it, as opposed to, like, using this very serious topic
that's
of,
a
like,
good point.
Miscarriage and being like, it was just the demon in your head eating your babies, you know, which is, like, fucked up.
I think you guys make good points. Weird. I think James Wan is not a very serious writer.
Well, then don't touch on something.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think serious, I'm sure. Yeah, I got you.
I also, similarly, I don't know what this movie is saying necessarily about motherhood and family. especially in the hospital when biological mother is saying, Gabriel, please forgive me. I shouldn't have given you away. You are my son, and I should have loved you no matter what. And, no. Like, first, you had this child from assault. You don't have to love that baby. You don't need to keep that baby. You didn't need to give birth to the baby. Mm-hmm. You then don't need to keep that. That would be a reminder to you of your trauma. You're also a child. You should not hold any fucking guilt, and this movie should not tell us that she shouldn't have done that.
Truly a wild cautionary tale.
Yeah.
To be like, you can give up your baby if you want, but she will live in the back of the skull of the child you eventually adopt and might kill you, you know?
I also found that weird.
Like
my read on it was it reminded me of in one of the Friday the 13th movies, one of the like counselors or victims dresses as Jason's mom and pretends to be her to be like, it's okay to basically get him vulnerable, which is how I was like, oh, is that what it is? I think I was kind of just coping because I was like, oh, that's a weird message. So I was saying, oh, I wish she was just faking in my head. But no, I don't. I think you're correct.
Yeah,
I
just think it's an uncomfortable message.
Probably unnecessary addition there.
Also, like, you are my son and I should have loved you no matter what. This is a not viable child.
Yeah.
This is
and
an
a murderer.
Absorbed fetus living on the back of the viable child's head. He was never a real baby that could have lived.
I do wonder if she was just trying. Or am I misreading
I don't think so. I mean, there was like tears coming out of her eyes. It really did feel like a read the room situation, though, where it's like, I don't think you're going to talk him down in this one.
Yeah, it's not working.
He's pretty in deep.
He's pretty pissed.
Yeah.
And it's basically then having like him being super pissed at mom, biological mom, to the point of like trying to murder her. It's like, what is that saying? Is this saying you deserve to be murdered if you put up your child for adoption? I thought that's what a lot of people in this country want, right? Like, I don't, just the messages here aren't doing it for me. And so I think a lot of the theming that I'm getting from the movie, I have a problem with.
Okay.
So that's like a big thing for me, is when like I said, when a movie takes these really heavy topics and doesn't do them justice. Yeah. Same with Annabelle. Like, it's kind of the same thing, where I just don't think.
James Wan didn't write that one.
Well, he didn't write this either. No, this is his story, but he didn't do the screenplay. Yeah. But he's involved with these projects that are, I
agree with you.
Uncomfy to me.
It is kind of weird. I think I just chose to overlook it.
I can't.
It's kind of, Matt, you got anything that doesn't work for you in this movie?
There was some, I guess thematically it still sort of works. It just felt like all the underground Seattle shit was a little cumbersome in the movie. I feel like we didn't even need a majority of that. It felt like we introduced it and then immediately did nothing with it.
Yeah. I guess maybe you're saying thematically it's like the built on top.
Yeah, it's like, it's just another one of the things to be like, there's Seattle, but then there's another Seattle underneath of that people don't even realize is there, blah, 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 festering underneath of it. Which is
I think you just wanted to have a cool scene in it.
Yeah, right. Like, it seemed like they probably had a lot of dusty, like, old shit lying around the studio space, and they were like, why don't we just set up some floodlights and go crazy?
I don't think it looks good either.
Okay. Interesting. I disagree. I don't know why. I think I was sold on this is just a cool set.
Yeah, but I don't think it needed to be there. I think they could have done enough things with like above ground Seattle. Yeah. Like, I don't think it really needed.
They wanted it for that chase scene, and that was pretty much it.
I also don't feel like I needed the chase scene because I don't think that they show much after that of like the detective believing her or anything, which is what I thought it was going towards. Is he sees it, so he knows it's not her. But then she ends up locked in jail and shit for murder anyway. So I really don't understand what purpose that's serving.
But I gotcha. I'll say it. I think there's a lot of stuff that the purpose of it is just to be cool in this movie. And it's like James Wan was like, this looks fun. I want to make it fun. Which like I'm fine with if it looks good and I enjoyed it. So I was like, I'm fine with him just doing like dumb fun things. Which I think this movie is just dumb fun in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point, is that not every movie needs to be doing something deeper. I just think that this movie in some ways is.
Yeah, so it's kind of mixed messages.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
What do you guys think this movie is meaning?
I think mine didn't work.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't think you were going to say much.
No, I still have to say, I think that it could definitely be scarier throughout. I think that we've seen Wan show like that he can make something really scary. I think there are some very scary scenes in Insidious and some very, very scary scenes in The Conjuring. As much as I like the campiness and the comedy, I think I would have enjoyed it even more had there been the blend of like one scene has me wanting to like shit my pants and then one scene has me laughing. I think would have worked more.
I think that's the biggest thing that this movie was missing. It was funny, and I think it's not accidentally funny, but it's not as funny as I think it should have been. I think there should have been more scenes that are like, oh, this is really funny. Mm-hmm. And then you match that with a scene that's like, you get a jump scare from Cindy, and you get a genuinely scary scene, and then you get another funny as hell scene.
And the mixing.
Yeah.
There was probably one scene that was the best mixed, which was the under the bed.
Yeah,
they put the camera under the bed.
But even that is like only sort of funny. It's like in your head you go, oh, that's kind of funny. But there wasn't really much in this movie that I think that they had intended to make me laugh that made me laugh as much. And I would have loved some like really intentionally very funny parts in this movie and I think that would have really driven home the how campy it was and how ridiculous it was.
And that it was deliberate.
So we could have just used a little more extremes in both directions.
Yes.
A little more extremes on scary, a little more extremes on funny.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering, what it would have been like, if there were like one or two, and not replacing the main girl, because I think she was good, and I think it's great that she's like not as well known of an actress. But if they had gotten like one or two like bigger, more well known actors in this movie,
there's pretty much nobody.
Yeah. I was going to say nobody in this movie did I recognize from anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason he did that. I don't know if it was cost or what.
Yeah,
well, it kind of seems like are generally pretty cheap.
This one does kind of feel like
but even The Conjuring has that one. There's a couple people in it. I mean,
The Conjuring are these movies that are a little like higher budget. Like Insidious, filming was $750,000.
Yeah.
The total budget is $1.5 million. So obviously, again, very cheap. So I'm kind of gonna assume that this didn't have a crazy budget either.
This one does feel like it's the one though that he's proved himself and he's allowed to make his vanity project. Because this still to me feels very much like this is Wan's vanity project. Like this he's been wanting to make this.
This feels like an early idea that he had that he's just kind of been holding on to.
And I'm glad it's out there. Like I'll complain about certain things, but I am like very happy to have seen it and I would recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody,
just because it's different and it's weird.
And I think everybody deserves to have like that thing that's like, even though it might not have been like everyone's cup of tea, like if you're the guy who made it and you're like, this is the movie I wanted to make so bad, and you get to do that, I mean, that's dope.
That's the dream.
It's so cool, yeah.
I wanted to share that I am a bit of a liar. I'm a big liar.
Huge liar.
What did you just say?
Well, The Conjuring had a budget of $20 million, so much more than Insidious, but this had a budget of $40 million.
Yeah, I'd assume this was his most expensive.
And it didn't even earn that in the box office.
Yeah, I'm not surprised
but that's also because of the release timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that had a lot to do with it.
This feels cult classic-y to me, though. I have a feeling like this. I know there are a lot of people that do like this movie and defend it big time, so I'll be interested in a decade if people talk about it or if it's kind of forgotten. Because to me, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but it feels like one that like could be talked about or one that people like, oh, have you seen that kind of word of mouth gets popular again?
Well, it has the same energy to me of like Jennifer's Body, right? Like that isn't taking itself too seriously, and no one would be like, this is a work of art, but like it is talked about and it's talked about for a reason. I just happen to like that more than this.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think they're very similar. I didn't think about that before, but it's a good comparison.
Are you ready to talk about
themes? Yep. Let's get into it. What did you
get from it?
I had not thought about the agency until you said it, and I think that's the biggest one, is that throughout her life, it's clear that she has been controlled by men and is taking back her agency, finally. Like, and really, she does kill her abusive husband. I know it's Gabriel, but it's like her body. She doesn't have agency in that, but in the end, she chooses to lock him away, even though he'll always be there. right? That's what he said. He'll always be there. Which sets up a sequel. Please, James Wan, we want Malignant 2.
Do we?
Right, guys?
Malignant 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
But I really
Chamber of Secrets.
I really like that read on it of taking back her agency, and like now she's actually going to start living her life for maybe the first time in her entire life. Because even from the beginning, the doctors are controlling her. Then Gabriel's controlling her. Then her husband's controlling her. Now it's her, and that makes me very happy. So
from there, something I noticed. And this is something I was kind of like reading up on before. That's why I looked up James Wan interviews to see if he touches this. Where I think Gabriel could be seen as a physical manifestation of trauma. So she's like adopted, and you know, that could be, even if you are adopted into a very good home, the foster system, and she clearly like did not end up in a good home till she was like 6 or 8. So that is extremely traumatic.
Well, the trauma starts before she's even born. She's born of trauma.
Yes, so she has that.
So there's
the
that
whole
of
foster
like,
adoption.
The second she's even conceived,
existing.
it is of such a traumatic thing that she's born now with this with this defect, which could be, or I guess whatever's going on. Maybe not defect, might not be the right word, but like, you know, this with Gabe.
Yeah, with
our boy, with G-Man himself.
G-Man himself. And then the abuse she's obviously facing in her relationship. And shoving him into her brain, we can see is like...
repression, right?
Would be suppression, because it's deliberate.
Oh, sorry.
That's kind of the difference. Is suppression is when you can, like, deliberately block it off.
Okay. Repression's non-deliberate?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. We're learning.
And then I think it's interesting, like you said, that he goes after anyone who traumatized her. It's kind of a way to take back control after these people traumatized her, because it's her partner who very physically abused her, mom who left her, doctors who then kept her locked up like an experiment when they probably could have just taken it out to begin with. Mom
who left her is a little unfair because that she was 15.
I know, we talked about that, but that still doesn't mean
it's really grandma.
This is a person who put you up for adoption, and that even if people could understand, I could see why that's still a trauma. Like the adoption, the foster system, all of that itself. Even if the person made the right call for them and for the baby, I could see why that is still a traumatic experience. So
and especially within like the plot of this too, like. She sent them there, and then they surgically removed Gabe. So, as like Gabe would think of it, you, mother, have sent me to a place where they wanted to kill specifically me.
Yeah.
And then they talk about, like Gabe says, deep down you've always known. And she talks about the last memory buried deep in the back of my head. So that's where she's starting to come to and remember. He also, at the end... as you mentioned earlier in the ad, he says, you can't lock me in here forever. She says, I know, but next time I'll be ready for you, kind of implying she's going to like learn her little coping skills and learn how to deal with it in the future, maybe.
So as much as I want a sequel, it definitely completely undermines all the theming and the agency of the first one.
It would.
That's just, this is the same problem you're coming with before, is taking serious topics and combining with like the unserious movie, because like he did create an icon slasher villain, but if he can't come back, they always come back, I guess, but if he comes back, it does kind of like mess up the potential character arc of this first movie. Yeah. I want him back anyway though, so I'll take it.
I just, again, it's so hard, like we said, to talk about these such serious topics.
Yeah. I want Juan on this podcast. I want to hear what he has to say.
I would like to know if he was going for that.
I want him to defend himself.
Like, I don't know. I think just be reading it that way.
I think if they did make a sequel, it'd be really cool if he had like if she found like an old diary or something of hers when she was like at the wherever they were keeping her before, and as she's like reading through the pages, she starts to like see him come to life again, and he like leads her into like a very buried deep underground chamber, and you know, she finds a phoenix and a sword, and there's a snake.
You're the worst.
If, like, all that stuff were to happen, I think that's how he could make it work really well, you know? And he would rearrange the letters of his name, and he would say, my name is actually Baggy.
You know, I really thought you had a serious idea.
You got me going there. I was like, I'm into this. That was great bit.
I'll never stop.
So,
You got me going. I was like, yeah, all right. No, I'm seeing it. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. You could come back.
do you
Oh
think
my god. Oh my.
Do you think this movie is saying anything about motherhood or family? Or, like, what do you think it's saying?
It is. James Wan loves talking about family. It's Insidious as a family theme. The Conjuring is a family theme. And I think Malignant has a family theme too. But I don't think Gabriel's supposed to be part of that family. I don't read it that way.
Not that.
I read it as like she's been looking for a blood connection, and Gabriel could be that. She could side with him and have that blood connection. But no, she has her sister, right? Her adopted, non-biological sister that's been her blood connection because, like,
well, where do
found
you see...
family can be better than actual family.
That is true,
Right?
yes. But where do you see then at the end, like, her being upset that he made her babies? Because then that's basically her retaliating because he took away her potential blood connection. Like, I think that combined with what Mom was saying, where she's like, I shouldn't have given you away, I don't know what the fuck
I'm
you're trying to
ignoring
say.
the I shouldn't give you away part.
But I don't think you can.
I'm just choosing
like,
to for
Sure.
this. I do think she doesn't realize the blood connection thing until, or that she doesn't need a blood connection until after she finds out. That's what gets her to finally turn and get in control,
Okay.
is because her agency has been removed, like we said before, and then it goes to a whole new extreme when her agency is removed by having basically what the baby she wants to have eaten, as we're saying, absorbed by Gabriel. Right? That's even more agency removed from her, the choice to have or not to have. Right? So that still has to do with her. I think I separate that from the blood connection. But then she doesn't need to have a baby to have blood connection. She doesn't need to be not adopted.
I think it's the baby that triggers her to go
Sure.
after Gabe,
And now
not the
fine.
family.
But now she could have a baby
In the
if she
context
wanted.
of the scene.
I was going to say, in the scene, the change that you see happen within her is when what's-her-face,
Tells her
Taylor
about the
Swift,
baby.
reveals that... that she's like, he's been eating your babies. And then she's like, oh, maybe I do want this guy gone for real. And you're like, what?
Yeah. No, you're right. Maybe it is just conflicting.
Yeah.
But-
I'll let that.
I do think there's still like a family message, though.
It's just not
And
done
maybe
the
it's
best.
just not, completed. But like I said, I do think he covers family in all of it, all these movies. And really, as Matt said, he needs to direct Fast 11.
Fast 11, James Wan.
Really, it should be the Fast and Furious Conjuring cinematic universe combined. And then...
It could be the Fast and Furious Malignant cinematic universe.
Yeah,
That's
even
how
better.
we bring him back.
They do kind of fit better, don't
Yeah,
they?
she's driving down the highway.
Yes,
and who
backwards.
runs her off the... Yeah,
Backwards, right? Hands behind her back. She makes her own seat. So Gabriel can get
Well,
backwards
Charlize
into it.
Theron makes her own.
Yes.
Makes
Oh,
a
wait,
seat
we're
for
combining.
Gabe, because there's the overarching plot that they have going on, too.
I love it. Yeah, Gabriel
Excellent.
confirmed as the bad guy for Fast 11.
Also, maybe also one of Dom's brothers.
Gabriel's Dom's brother, you say?
Dom
Or
has a
even
Gabriel
Madeline.
in the back.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Vin Diesel pulls his scalp apart to reveal a Gabe-like version, but one that's much more well-adjusted. So that's, throughout the movie.
God.
Throughout the movie, characters are always like, Vin, I thought I already handed you a beer. And he's like, no, man, give me another one.
Would be much harder to hide Vin Diesel's Gabriel, I'm just being honest.
He would just have to take to wearing a hat suddenly.
It would be like in...
He's
No,
got a
second
cowboy
out.
hat the whole movie.
It's going to be like in season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! He's going to be driving. He's like, the only one that doesn't know what my next move is my Gabriel, and then flips around for then him to take the wheel.
Yeah, his swivel driver's seat flips around.
There we go.
We've written it.
We should pitch meeting this.
Yeah, James
Do a
Wan,
podcast
we've
where we write
got
this.
most of the legwork done for you.
TM.
We just
I
need
love
the
it.
money.
Yeah,
Someone
I'm
help.
in. All right, let's do some ratings. We can write this movie on a specialty episode.
Yeah, Matt, what are you giving it? Out of 10.
I think it is, for me, an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it. I have so much fun watching it. So it's getting that. Maybe 8.25, I'll say.
That's fucking ridiculous.
I feel similarly to
you
Carrie.
gave, I think, The Witch like an 8.5.
Oh, well, ratings are dumb anyway. Fine. You're bullying me and then just moving it to an 8.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's because The Witch is really good, but I just didn't enjoy it as much on the most recent view, where sometimes I feel like The Witch would be higher. This, I really enjoyed the viewing. I felt like it felt similar to Carrie, was what I was saying, where Carrie, I just really enjoyed it a lot, and I had a lot of fun watching, so. Fine. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Hanna bullied me.
Is that the OG Carrie, or is that the remake Carrie? Okay.
The OG. Well, I don't think we're watching the remake. Maybe someday.
That day is not today.
All right, Hanna, your turn.
5.
5's flat 5. Damn, you really were a hater. Is that your lowest rating so far?
No.
Who's your lowest?
Annabelle, dude.
Oh, yeah, Annabelle was terrible. I already
That's
forgot
terrible,
about
but...
See, Annabelle's got nothing going for this. This movie has so much going for it.
Well, that's why I think we gave Annabelle like a 2 or a 3.
Okay. All right.
All of us gave it extremely low. We were like a point for each time we got scared.
Yeah.
This one, I just think is like an average run-of-the-mill movie. Like, there's just so much about it that's given B-movie.
That's the point. That's why it's great.
I don't like it.
All right, fine.
I just don't.
And I respect your opinion.
I don't know if you do. Although I didn't respect yours either, so fair is fair. What about you?
Yeah, I've got no respect for either of you. I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
6.5. 6.5. I will give it a little higher than a 6. But I think kind of in the same vein as Hanna. I think, it's all right movie. I don't think it super excels at a lot of the things that it's doing, though. I can think of funnier, like spoofy parody of the same genre movies. I can think of scarier versions of like these kind of movies.
That's a great movie. Cabin in the Woods versus this.
I think this movie is close to being really good at all those things, but just falls short in every department, unfortunately. Okay. Again, if it was funnier in certain parts and scarier in certain parts, I think it would have like just that much more going for it. But it isn't really super scary at all. Even the jump scares aren't like great. Like most of the jump scares are just, Taylor Swift or whatever her name was.
And Matt, would you say that you would recommend this to people?
Yeah, I would certainly recommend it to people. I think it's definitely worth a watch. And I think this is a movie that is definitely going to have people on either side. You either like it or you hate it. And so I think for that purpose, everybody should watch it and find out where they stand on that.
Fair. Audience polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average of C, from an A+ to an F.
Brutal.
And Post Track reported 59% of audience members gave it a positive score, but with only 38% saying they would definitely recommend it. So I think...
Really? All right. Well,
that kind of... Matt is our down the middleer there.
I guess that there's a lot of movies I hate, and this one it works for me. So
I don't hate it.
I don't know why.
I don't hate it. Maybe 5.5.
Well,
I guess.
There's an opportunity we have here to take everything about it that we didn't like and everything we thought we can excel with. The Fast and the Malignant in theaters.
Fast and the Malignant.
TM.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Nobody can steal that. The musical, probably. Really.
We've been
the musical. The
Fast and the Malignant, the musical?
The musical, yeah.
Matt, we're already working on Saw.
No, Scream the musical.
Nope, Scream the musical. TM.
Yeah, nobody can steal
that.
That's going to be made before we can write it. They already got Evil Dead the musical. I'm disappointed. But I will be seated for Scream the musical.
Front row, baby.
Ass. Front row.
Matt will be in it.
I'm still stuck on the Fast.
He's playing Randy.
The musical. I'm just thinking about the scene where Jason Statham's like, "Are you telling me that Dom's not driving that car for real?"
It's just a shot of
it's just a shot of
alligator arms coming out the back of his body holding the wheel. Turns the nitrous knob with its alligator arms. Yeah,
well, that's all for this week, guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This was a hell of a movie I probably wouldn't have watched on my own, so I'm glad you guys forced it upon me.
Yep. And hopefully we'll have you back for Raw at some point.
Yeah,
absolutely. Or we'll kick you out for that one.
You'll have to go to Paris again, but
yes.
Whatever it takes.
All right. I'm Matt Hanna.
I'm Hanna.
I'm Matt Dalton.
And this has been Horror Hour with the Hannas. Thank you for joining us.
See you next week. Thank you for tuning into Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, and follow for additional content on TikTok or Instagram at Horror Hour with the Hannas. If you like the podcast, please leave a positive review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!